What up players, it's WARBOSS Tay up in this mug. Today I'm going to show you how I apply transfers like a boss, like a war boss. And I'm using this Raven Guard transfer sheet on a Raven Guard Scout model, but you could use any transfer on any model, Imperial Guard, any other Space Marine chapter, Chaos Space Marines, Tau, doesn't matter. The basic principles are always the same. First steps first, you take your transfer sheet and you cut out the design of the transfer you want to apply. Use a sharp hobby knife and make sure you get a very clean square around the design that you want to apply. I like to use a square because, as you can see, the transfer design, the decal paper, it's cut right around the Raven Guard symbol. That means that you've got some of that backing paper all by itself. That's what you're going to grab with the tweezers to make sure that when you're applying the transfer onto the model, you're not ripping the paper or you're not getting it stuck because you're holding on to the transfer paper. You want to get a nice square with the four corners that you can grab with your tweezers. Now this product here, or these two products in combination, are what really sell this method. So I'm going to add a link in the description where you can get some of this Microset and Microsol. You could do this method with water, but it's not going to look good. In fact, Games Workshop suggests that you use water because they don't come out with an equivalent product. But I'm sure if they did have Microset and Microsol, some kind of equivalent product, then they would be promoting the heck out of that. So basically you take your model, and I've applied a layer of ard coat to make sure that the surface is nice and shiny and hard. And then I take my transfer, I dip it into the Microset using some tweezers, and then I just brush it onto the model. It's gonna come off really easily on Microset, but if you want, you can also dip, holding it with your tweezers, dip that transfer into some water just to get it off the backing paper. I like to use Microset for everything at this point because it is what is going to help you to achieve the result you want. Now, what does Microset do? It softens the transfer paper so that it will mold to whatever shaped surface that you put it on, namely the shoulder pads of Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines. Because the shoulder pads are curved and transfer paper is flat, if you just dip it into some water and put it onto the curved surface, it's going to dry and all the corners are going to crinkle up and it's going to look terrible. But what Microset does is it softens the transfer paper, it allows it to mold onto the surface, and then it dries, adhering, that's the word I'm looking for, adhering to the curved surface. So you give it some time and then you just come back with a paintbrush, dip it into the Microset, and just easily, slowly, just dab that Microset on. You want to make sure that you get it on the top of the transfer paper. Obviously it's going to be underneath because you've wet the surface with the Microset beforehand. And then you're just going to let that Microset seep all up in that transfer paper. The trick is Microset, until it's dry, makes the surfaces workable. That means that you can accidentally push the design, the transfer paper around with your paintbrush if you're not careful, or even worse, you put too much Microset down and then the transfer is going to just move on its own. The main thing is that you're going to need to be a little patient while each one of these dries. So it's good if you're doing a squad because you could set one, get the transfer on, hit it with another layer of Microset, and then move on to the next one. And this also helps because in case your transfers shift while they're drying, then you're still able to see them all together at one place. If I just did one model with transfers and I walked away, the transfer could shift on it and then I wouldn't know until I came back and it was completely dried, too late to do anything. So once I've got the transfer placed where I want it, it's pretty much center the way I want it, then I just let it sit, let the Microset dry. And then when you come back, you're gonna hit it with Microsol. Now what this does is it dissolves the transfer paper, really melts it into the surface that it's being put on so that it looks like it's painted on. Now you don't have to do this, but these two products work hand in hand together. So you really should take advantage of it. And at the end of the day, it's gonna make your transfers look amazing. They're not gonna look like they've just been stuck on with decal paper crinkled up and folded up all over the place. It's just going to make your models stand out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click the links below. Again, check out Microset and Microset for yourself. If you're running low, get another reorder. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next one.